Welcome to the Mind Solution Podcast with Sarah Maud. The Mind Solution Podcast is for leaders like you who are passionate about well-being in the workplace because you understand that a strong, resilient and happy workforce is the key to your organisation's success. The Mind Solution Podcast is here to help you. So join us every week where we'll share with you powerful insights, strategies and know-how to ensure that your people and your organisation are truly thriving from the inside out. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mind Solution Podcast, and one which I trust is going to be a very thought-provoking episode. Because today I'm going to be embarking on a journey to uncover the truth of who we really are. I'm your host, Sarah Maud, so get ready to delve into the depths of our existence and really shift your perceptions and perspectives about who it is that you think you are. Now, my own exploration into the universe, I'm going to say, came from a very young age. In fact, I think I was about 6 or 7 when I got my hands on one of the local vicars that had come into the primary school to ask him, how did the world begin? Which, when I look back, seems a pretty profound question for somebody so young, but then I guess children do have much more of a curiosity at that age. And that exploration into how the world began, into who we really are, the very essence of our being, is certainly a journey that I've been exploring for the last 25 years. And as I see it, I think in the midst of our very busy life, it's very easy to lose sight of our true nature, or to be operating from the belief that our personality and our ego is who we think we are. But in truth, beneath all of those layers, beneath all of our thought patterns, our beliefs, our experiences, lies a profound truth that's waiting to be recognized. And as I discovered for myself, the truth of who we really are extends far beyond our physical body, extends far beyond physical appearances and the identities that we've created, often from a very, very young age, about who we think we are. That we're not about our job titles. We're not about the labels that we put on ourselves, like a partner or a mum or a single mum or gay or straight or transsexual or any of that. We're not our material possessions. We're not our social status. But that deep within us lies this infinite well of consciousness and awareness. What you might think of as a spark of divinity that connects us to something far, far greater than ourselves. And that true essence, it transcends all of the fluctuations of thoughts and emotions. Because that true essence is the unchanging core of our being. That true essence, which is the formless, it's untouched by the ups and downs of life. And this essence, it's pure love. It's pure wisdom, it's compassion, it's the qualities that define our inherent nature. And I think that the more that we can learn how to connect with this essence, then we're able to really tap into resilience. We're tapping into what's already there within us, that infinite well-being, We're able to tap into peace of mind. I think about all of the conversations that I've had with people over the years, especially working one-to-one as a therapist and as a coach, where people have been crying out for peace of mind and presence. But they've been looking outside of themselves to try and create that peace of mind. Where that peace of mind, that sense of stillness was always there. And we can leave it, but it can never leave us. And so often what gets in the way of that inner peace, what gets in the way of us being true to who we really are, is the ego. And the ego, with its incessant chatter and its self-centered desires, often obscures our perception of our true self. And no matter what you do, how far you go in life, what you achieve, how successful you are, the ego will never be satisfied. And so even when you do achieve a level of wealth or success, or you meet the right person, and it can feel for a while like, oh yeah, this is what I was looking for to make me feel good, to make me feel happy, to make me feel whatever it is that we're looking for. But have you ever noticed that no matter what it is that you do, you get to a point and you achieve that, and it's like, yeah, there's still this sort of restlessness. There's still this sense that it's not quite enough. And so we start to think, well, we need more money, we need more success, more qualifications, more this, more that. Because the ego, in its own way, is only ever able to operate from the level of fear. The ego's role is to create that sense of separation, and that can be really helpful. If I'm walking down the street, it can be really helpful for me to have that sense of separation as a human being, so that I'm not bumping into you as I'm walking down the street. But beneath the ego's facade lies the essence of who we truly are. And I think in this aim that I have to bring spirituality into business, to get us talking about spirituality in business and embracing this shift to a more conscious and spiritual existence, it's really about helping people to understand the truth of who we really are. Because in doing that, we're able to identify where it is that we're coming from. Are we coming from the level of the ego, which creates so much havoc, mayhem, chaos? And I saw that so many times working in the world of business, working in the corporate world. How that if people didn't have any level of self-awareness, that they were like puppets on a string to the ego. But when we're able to transcend that, when we're able to recognize that, when we're really able to understand who we are, that's at the very heart of us. That's the essence. And so I believe that in helping people to let go of attachments to ego-driven identities and societal expectations, that we really can glimpse the truth of our true nature, that we can experience life from a very different level, that we can experience feeling happier, we can feel connected. Connection is something which I love to experience, I love to talk about. Because I know myself that when I've really felt those moments of connection, true connection to the truth of who I really am, it's just been, I can't even do it justice with words, but It's like my heart just literally breaks open. I feel so much joy, so much liberation, so much appreciation. And it's just like a complete waterfall of joy and connectedness in a way that I really can't explain. But I've put myself on a mission to help people to experience that. Because I also believe that the more that we can work together to bring that sense of connection to who we really are, then we can start to create some fundamental shifts in the world. Shifts where we're kinder to one another, we're more loving, we're more giving, we're more in service. Where we work together, we stop fighting against each other. So let's just explore how recognizing the truth of who we really are can transform other areas of our life. And I think one of the first areas I would invite us to look at is the one of self-acceptance and authenticity. Now, authenticity is a word that's often bandied around in the corporate world, but what does that actually mean? How do you know when you're being authentic, when you're operating from your true self, when you're being true to who you really are? Well, again, I think in helping people to understand that, how to connect with the truth of who they really are, then they can really embrace themselves fully. That's when they can bring their true whole self to work with all of our strengths, all of our gifts. And that when we experience that self-acceptance, it does something very powerful because it frees us from this need for external validation. And that's something that I think so many people are very innocently chasing all the time. They're chasing that external validation from other people. You know, we sometimes hear the term people pleaser. But that people pleaser behavior is because we're trying to feel something. We're looking for that emotional feedback, that emotional kickback, which is validating who we think we are. So when we can break free of that, that allows us to live far more authentically. And in turn, we just naturally radiate. We radiate with confidence. We have much more connected conversations with each other. Our actions, our behaviors align with our inner truth. And going back to what I was saying about peace, you know, it's one of the games that I see a lot of people playing, and I have been as guilty as the rest of playing this game, is the I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I've got the promotion. I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll be happy when I've got the house, the car. I'll be happy when I've achieved a certain level of success. I'll be happy when I've lost 10 pounds in weight, not money. But it's just always leading to a losing game because we're placing all of that power on external circumstances. But by coming home to the truth of who we really are, by reconnecting to our true nature, then that transcends the need for any external circumstance, because we realize that everything that we were looking for was already within us. We realize that our happiness, it doesn't depend on external achievements or possessions, but what arises from within us. And I think that deep sense of connection to ourselves, that deep sense of contentment, then allows us to navigate life in a very different way, in a way that feels easier, feels more in flow. It feels more empowering, in a way that we can also be a lot more resilient, because we're not looking to those external conditions to try and give us anything. I think about how much organizations invest in resilience training, and again, hands up, myself and the team, we used to do a lot of resilience training. But now the resilience training that we do is pointing employees, pointing business leaders actually to what is already there, so that they're not giving away their power to what it is that they think they need to be doing in order to be resilient, because that just adds to an overflowing to-do list in the mind. And then again, in that understanding the truth of who we really are expands our level of consciousness. Around about 96-98% of the time we're operating from the level of the unconscious mind. So the more that we are operating from our true self, that expanded being, then we just naturally, we expand our consciousness. And that opens us up to any number of things. But it certainly opens us up to a greater understanding of the world around us, because we develop a deeper sense of interconnectedness, recognizing that, we're all part of the same cosmic tapestry. And that expanded consciousness, it fuels our desire to contribute positively to the world, to make a positive, meaningful difference. And there are already so many beautiful people out there, beautiful beings that are making an incredible impact on the world, doing good for the world. And I think certainly in the last 20-25 years, there's been a real shift in consciousness. I can really see that in people becoming more awakened. And, in part we can thank technology for that. We can thank the internet. I know a lot of people see it as either a force for good or a force for evil, but it's given us access to information. It's given us access to do the kind of things that we couldn't do even 50 years ago, which in all of that has helped us to raise our levels of consciousness. And then finally, I think it's about really aligning with our purpose. What is it that we're really here to do? And I think that when we're living in alignment with our true self, when we're operating from the true self, when we're living from the heart, that's when we can discover our unique purpose, those unique gifts that only you can give to the world. We can discover our passion. And because we're no longer driven by external expectations, instead we're guided by an inner compass, so that actions become far more purposeful and aligned with what really matters to us, our core values. And in turn, I think that can really help us to make a much more profound impact, not just on our own life, but of the lives of others. So I think as a parting note, that for me personally, the truth of who we really are is, as I've touched on, It absolutely transcends all of our external identities. And I talked about this in the last podcast. It's transcending our identities about who we think we are, going beyond the confines of the ego, the little mind, the personal mind. And by really connecting with the truth of who we really are, that's when we're able to live life magically. As Dr. Joe Dispenza would say, it's becoming supernatural. And that when we're navigating our lives by this truth, and we can experience the kind of personal transformation and expanded consciousness and connection. And so I trust that this has been a very enlightening episode for you. It's really got you thinking in a way perhaps you've never thought before about the truth of who you really are. And I would love to hear how this has landed to you. So do drop your comments in the comments box. And until we meet again, have a wonderful, extraordinary day.